The broadcast is now starting and all attendees are in a listen-only mode. For your information, this session will be recorded and the recording may be made available to others. The participants list is in private mode so that other participants cannot see your name. The chat function is in private mode as well. Only the moderators receive the message sent in the chat. Please log out if you do not wish to continue based on this. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to an exclusive mindsON workshop on global risk management, an initiative by Syntegrity's myRBQM Academy. I'm Tamara, the host of this session. In today's live interview, we will hear about how Dr. Yuriy Lebed, a Ukraine-based CRO, navigates global risks and adopts a crisis as an opportunity to reach out to unique patient groups. You'll have the opportunity to ask questions at the end of each interview section and at the end of the webinar as well. So to join the conversation, please use the chat box that you find on the right side. My colleague Nora, the moderator of this interview, will bring your questions to the speaker's attention then. Okay, Nora, who are our interview partners today, please?
Our guest today is Dr. Yuriy Lebed. After graduating as a general practitioner, Yuriy entered a Ph.D. fellow program at the Beaumolet Institute National Academy of Sciences. Then he became a co-founder of Pharmaxi CRO in 2013 and is currently CEO at Pharmaxi LLC and Pharmaxi Poland. Dr. Lebed is interviewed by our Chief Executive Officer and founder, Artem. Artem, the stage is yours.
Thank you very much, Nora. So really honored to be here today. So we had a lot of conversations with Yuriy already before. And the idea about this interview was when Yuriy has visited Frankfurt recently, he told me already how difficult was it to leave Ukraine in this period of time. And actually, we were discussing, so to say, what is going on currently in the clinical trial space. So a lot of interesting and exciting insights were shared by Yuriy that days. And in fact, that's where the original idea of this interview come from. Yuriy, so first of all, thanks a lot for joining. I really appreciate your time, and I really know how hard it is to organize everything. Just for everybody's information, Yuriy needed to establish a dedicated supply for electricity additionally for this webinar. So, again, I hope that all will work from technological standpoint. And I know that it might be some interruptions in connectivity. So for everybody who joins us today, please understand. We really hope to get exclusive, so to say, insights about the situation currently there in pharma space, in clinical trial space, how CROs navigating through that today, who are currently not giving up, so to say, not moving to some place or moving, but also continuing operations in Ukraine as well. What are the challenges? So all that is actually, I have more questions than we have time today. So Yuriy, I want to start with a very simple question. Yeah. So what is going on there? So what is happening?
Yeah, thank you very much for the invitation, and I'm happy to speak with you and our BQM Academy team here. Now everything is more or less okay. Unfortunately, we experienced another attack today morning, another rocket attack. But our risk mitigation strategy to organize this alternative power supply in our office allows us to speak with you, and even unexpected rocket attack do not interrupt our interview. I suppose that this is a general approach to risk analysis and risk mitigation and now we can speak with you.
Yeah, you mentioned risk mitigation. I think we are already kind of in a situation like crisis mitigation or crisis management. So my first question goes, or already kind of further question goes into the direction of clinical trials. So I looked in the clinicaltrials.gov before this interview and collected some statistics about pharma space before the war has begun. So there was approximately 680 clinical trials which were either ongoing in the 24th of February or were going to start in the near future. So Yuriy, do you have any information about what is going on with clinical trials right now, with majority of them? And if there are any studies, according to your information, which continue going on or maybe even beginning recruitment procedures?
Yes, we speak with other players here, and in Ukraine, the biggest CROs are operating, and Pharmaxi, Kyiv, and other CROs have been really active previously, because here we have a very good landscape and environment for clinical trials, and we've had a lot of trials before the war, but now those trials continues, and some patients have been reallocated to other clinical trials if they leave Ukraine. But for those patients who are here, these trials are ongoing, and I know official statistics, and from 24th February, it was approved only one clinical trial. It was early phase clinical trial. And today we can celebrate final approval of the first clinical trial in Pharmaxi and even in Ukraine. And we submitted this trial 3 weeks ago. And during 3 weeks, our state expert center provided final submission today, and this is the first submission since 24th February, if we speak about the whole clinical trial market here.
Mm-hmm. So first submission from these 680 studies which were in the beginning of the war, I assume it's a great achievement, and moreover, my congratulations about this achievement. So it's something presumably that Pharmaxi is doing differently. Yeah. So maybe you could share, your experience, particularly how you have met this situation. Yeah, how your team has met this situation in February and how it was evolved after the February. Maybe if you could share your maybe emotional states which you faced, so to say. I think that would be very interesting for everybody to hear.
Yes, thank you for this question. We have been prepared for some crisis because in Ukraine we experienced any different crises each 5-6 years. It was Maidan, Orange Revolution, several financial crises within the last 24 years in Ukraine. So I understood that some crisis will happen one day, but I cannot predict the nature of this crisis. And we've performed several like non-specific actions to be more prepared and to be more resistant to any type of crisis. And I'm thinking about management of the company from the doctor's perspective. And as I know, we have non-specific immunity, and the immune system can react with any type of invasion. And I was thinking that maybe company could be somehow prepared if we implement several measures to be prepared. And during the first day, 24th February, it was a very unexpected event. Everyone believed that it is only a blackmail from Russian side, and no one really think about real war in the center of the Europe. But it happened, and I was trying to collect information about what really happened, because one chance have been that Russians will invade only in eastern part, in the Donbass, and therefore we are safe in Kyiv region. But after the several hours, we read in news that Russians invaded from the north, and I was trying to understand how to behave. And here is the clear picture of any crisis, when everyone has to understand what action should be done, and even if nothing is done, it is also a decision. And if we are talking about my family, I was thinking, will that be more safe place if we will be here in home, if we will be here with electricity, water, and warm environment, or we have to take a car and goes to the western direction, and there is a chance that gasoline will be over, and then we will face with some problems, because it was -3 degrees those days. And this is the clear explanation of the picture of any crisis, when manager has to choose between two bad decisions. And this is clear explanation and clear example of this situation. And if we are talking about my thinking about my team, it was a problem, because those days we've been working in full remote mode. Everyone was at home, and we quite good accommodated to remote work during COVID-19 pandemic. And I tried to imagine thoughts of my employees, and the first picture which I imagine is that maybe it is the highest level of chaos and instability, and I have to do something to stabilize the situation, because if I will wait for 1 day or 2 days, I can lose my company. Everyone could decide that something happened, company doesn't exist, and I have to explain my decision and my vision as a manager. Mm-hmm. And I assembled everyone in Zoom call, and everyone was connected. Everyone was shocked, and it was completely unexpected for everyone. And I was saying three main facts during this call. And I said that Pharmaxi will fight for survival. We don't plan to interrupt activity. We do not want to stop anything, and we will fight. And I think that it is also advice for everyone who faces with crisis, that manager has to create a clear picture that the main intention of top management is to go forward and to keep going. This is fact one. Fact two was about physical safety and understanding. Will they be hunger in 1 month? And I told to them that, guys, no matter what, you will give your salaries within 6 months. And I was thinking that it was the second decision, and I was ready to pay all those money for 6 months in the situation when everything is stopped, no incoming money goes to our company, and I can guarantee that because previously I accumulated those funds to maintain salaries for the whole company for at least 6 months. And it is the point of preparations, because I know that many companies have been destroyed within 1 month because they haven't been enough prepared, and especially if they have 1,000 or several hundred employees, it's challenging to promise this fact and this idea that everyone will get salary for 6 months. And the third idea, which I've said that no one will be fired within 6 months. And I think that all those decisions kept us together, and everyone understood that if top manager promises that, then we have to be united, we have to be together. And I think that this like urgent decision within first 10 hours of the crisis saved our company.
So if I can go back to your analogy with invasion of a virus, so to say, into organism, that's the first thing you've reacted, so to say, is actually the first immune response. Yeah, so quick response to the invasion, and again, another building reserves actually could be compared with having some fat on the ribs, so to say.
Yeah.
So if you have a possibility to last longer as a company in the crisis situation, presumably it's absolutely essential. Yeah, absolutely essential.
Yes, and I would underline additional fact to this idea. When crisis happen, company has to have enough funds to adjust to a new reality, and new adjustment will require money to rebuild their lines and to start producing new products which are actual in this reality, or for example, we invested in additional trainings to diversify and to add additional services to our portfolio, we have been focused on those services which can be performed remotely. I analyzed our portfolio and I decided that data management, medical writing, EDC system services could be provided remotely. We have a chance to speak with clients and to say, guys, internet is okay, electricity is okay, we are online, we can continue these operations. And we won two big projects within first 1 month, which allows us to stabilize our cash flow. And I was thinking about a problem with on-ground clinical trials or classical clinical trials, because we cannot predict when sites would be ready to continue. And therefore, I decided that we have to implement another risk mitigating action. Sorry.
Yep.
This is another risk mitigating action to open new company in Poland, and this allows us to make company stable.
So diversification in regards of the offerings to clients and focusing on remote actions or remote tasks that you could fulfill, as far as I could see. And then also diversification in the legal setup, so that you can operate further on, organizing a legal entity in Poland additionally. So, Yuriy, how your employees have reacted to first words, or maybe your first statements? Were they disturbed? Were they worried? Were they scared? Like, what was the kind of how was the reaction of employees during these initial days? And did you have I don't know, did you see that some employees might disappear suddenly because they are decided to move to more safer place? How did you react to that?
I decided that we have to be in contact every day from 24th February, because situation have been changing really fast, and one person could be in Kyiv 24th, and then he could be in Moldova 1 or 2 days later, and then this person can be relocated to US within several weeks. And I was thinking that I have to implement some tool to track where we are. And I created a tracker to indicate if people has enough equipment to work, if they have enough mental capacity to work in this situation, if they are in the process of relocation somewhere. And approximately 30% of our company remains in Kyiv, despite on big risk. And Russians have been 30 kilometers away from Kyiv, and several troops even entered to the city during the first days, and it was really dangerous, but it was their decision. I have not been really pushy. I did not say to anyone that you have to do something. I just said that during 1-2 weeks, the first priority is your personal safety, and you can forget about working tasks. Please think about your physical safety. And 30% of employees remained in Kyiv. Around 40% have been relocated to western part of Ukraine, and 30% have been relocated to Europe. And it was the reality of the first 2 weeks of this crisis.
Gentlemen, we
Yeah.
have a question from the chat, if I may.
Yeah, please.
We have a question related to this very topic. Dr. Lebed, did you lose staff despite the offering and/or due to the fact that people had to serve in the army?
Yes, we have one person who has been invited to army. We have our EDC system, and we have a small IT department here, and one of our programmers have been invited to army, and we lost one person thanks to this situation, and several men voluntarily wanted to go to army to defend their country. And I was informed about it, not so during the first months. They informed me just 1 month ago that it was their idea to go to army despite nothing. And yes, we lost one person, and another personnel remain contact with us, and we continue operations, even including those persons who are located somewhere in Europe.
Yeah, thank you. How your clients did react to this situation? Have you some of how they did they contact you? Did they stop the trials or ask to stop the trials? Like, what was the client reaction?
It was different. Some clients urgently requested communication with me, with business development department, and personally, I managed around 90 calls during first 30 days with clients, with potential clients, trying to find some additional contracts for us. Sorry. If we are speaking about ongoing projects, several trials have been stopped without any chances to continue. Several trials have been discussed, and I try to explain that we have to stop a little bit, to think about how this situation evolve. And my personal belief was that we can resist and we can save central and western part of Ukraine. And I was trying to convince clients that it's real to resist. And some of them say to me, okay, we will wait. We will speak in 2 weeks. But in their eyes, I could see that they do not believe that Ukraine could resist. And when 2 or 3 weeks later we spoke with them, they can see that situation became more controllable, and we continued 4 clinical trials. Even now we are finalizing several of them, and investigators have been ready to continue with these trials after 3 or 4 weeks, and it was also a very interesting dynamic of their willingness. And within first 2 weeks, we do not even touch them, understanding situation. Then we tried to speak with them about current projects, and it was a very aggressive reaction, meaning that we try to understand how to save our children. And you speak about clinical trials, but 2 months later, investigators started calling to us and say, guys, do you have any projects? We continue operations, and we're ready to be involved. And I could say that the situation changed dramatically and really fast.
That's very important what you mentioned about the investigators. So let's talk about sites, how they kind of were behaving during this period, and maybe how they are behaving now. So what is their situation? So if, for example, patients were relocated, could they continue studies in other sites? Do you know this situation, if there were some sort of programs? And if sites were not reachable in certain regions in the eastern part of Ukraine, so yeah, any options that existed or like what you could see during this period of time, so how sites recover from that, maybe relocate to Western Ukraine, any piece of information there?
Yes. Thank you for this question. So general dynamic was very interesting for me, and I cannot again predict that this evolution of the willingness will be so fast. And since many trials have been stopped, investigators are looking for new trials, and now they are really active trying to contact with us and to say, guys, we have enough time, we have patience, we have additional power supply stations, we continue our treatment activity, and we're ready to be involved. The key point here is the question of physical safety. And once physical safety is not guaranteed, I felt this very specific sense inside, if the physical safety is not guaranteed, anything else exists. But if we can speak about safety in central region, in western region, even in Dnipro, which is closer to the front line. I know that investigators from this region called to us and say, we're ready to be involved in the trial of this therapeutical field, because we have many relocated people from temporarily occupied regions, and they can produce a lot of data, even in eastern part of Ukraine, because the density of population is even higher comparing to the previous years, and it is also interesting dynamics when citizens try to go to more safe place. Investigators have could have to select more patients, even comparing to the previous years. And if we think about the stop of all trials launched by big CROs, we can achieve a very good enrollment rate. And now we have additional request for this trial, which is coming to an end, that they would like to start new trial in Ukraine for a similar project, because we delivered a very good enrollment rate. And they convinced that it's real to maintain logistics, to maintain data collection, and it's also interesting that some companies can evaluate this positive things related to enrollment rate.
Yuri, I looked again what were the clinical trials before the war, mostly in Ukraine. So I see, of course, predominantly that was cancer studies with focus on lung cancer, 99 trials, breast cancer, 78 studies. So did this situation change after war started? So is any other therapeutic areas or maybe medical devices or other therapeutic areas gain now more dominance, so to say, or get more attention just because of the war?
We have no illustrative statistics because we have so few submissions now, and we can only think that we have now many different patient populations which are not really reachable in Europe. For example, if we say about PTSD patients, we have many disorders here. Or if we speak about medical devices related to surgery or wound healing, I suppose that here we can collect many patients here, and it could be also an opportunity this time. And another beneficial factor here is that our regulatory authorities now are more flexible, more responsive, and we can provide regulatory procedures really fast. For example, for medical devices, we can get approval for 2 weeks. It is not 60 or 90 days as it is in Europe. And in some cases, this speed for different procedures for regulatory and enrollment rate will overcome those risks for calm regions. And I think that in central and western part, we unexpectedly we have several good points to say clients that Ukraine is still good location for clinical trials.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I personally would wish to have another opportunity to, so to say, to improve medical device clinical trials, but nevertheless, if some medical device company is listening to this podcast, maybe they could think about even donation of this could be a fantastic opportunity to not only to begin clinical trials, but also donate certain medical devices in these circumstances.
Yeah.
I want to ask also about patients. Yeah, so you as a doctor understand that in crisis situation, every disease which was in hidden state pops up, so to say. And of course, in difficult situations, for example, if there were some oncology state already by patient, that might even worsen the situation. Do you have any insights about how patients' population, so to say, evolved through this time? If something changes, if you see some, I don't know, adverse events additionally to what was in the past compared to what was before the war. Any situation in this regard?
I have no public statistics, and I think that maybe these statistics doesn't exist because our Minister of Health now is focusing on some practical things, and they are really involved in the military part of this story to supply clinics closer to the front line, to distribute help, which is massively provided by European countries, and I think that there is no clear number here, but as the physician, I can imagine that we have a more problem with cardiovascular diseases and hypertonic crisis, and it is some chronic stress in population, but again I can say that we are quite accommodated to those stresses, and even today when a rocket attack was announced, we just sit and we just read this news. Okay, Kyiv will be under attack in 20 minutes. Okay, we have 15 minutes to speak internally, and then we go to corridor. We wait there for 15 minutes because corridor is a safer place because it's two walls between the outer side and the corridor. Then we noticed that there is no alarm anymore, and we will get back to the war. So there is no internal stress because it's more or less usual. But I can imagine that if some people really experienced some stressful events or explosions closer to the front line, to the border, to those cities which are bombarded more frequently, I suppose that this region will be linked to some cardiovascular implications. And if we say about cancer, stress will induce immunosuppression, and immunosuppression will lead to a higher probability of cancer. But this situation could evolve for months, and I suppose that this will be again additional negative impact of the war, and we will face with the increase of cancer cases within next year.
Yeah, I understand. So do you expect more protocol deviations for clinical trials, for example, than again before? Or on the other hand, or like maybe vice versa, could it be that, for example, sites, investigators are, as a part of their resilience, so to say, demonstrate better protocol adherence, just to show and demonstrate again that it's possible to do clinical trials in a safer way, that is in fact, despite that nobody really believes really worldwide, that is kind of it is could be considered like in normal situation. Again, do you see some changes already in protocol deviations, for example?
I suppose that the majority of protocol deviation have been linked with patient relocation. And I noticed many amendments for State Export Center, and those amendments have been about the change of study site, because one patient relocated to western part, and then he started to be he's linked with another study site, and maybe deviation linked to a IMP intake and schedule of procedure. But you know, all those deviations related to urgent relocation, and now we have not so big reason to relocate, and now we are stabilized. Frontline is more or less the same, and everyone comes to their decisions, and I cannot predict massive migration in the future. And I suppose that from this month, if Russians will not damage our electrical system massively, I think that there will be no migration activities inside. And our Ministry of Defense says that they have enough rockets maybe for one additional attack. And today, as I can see it from the news, almost 90% of rockets have been intercepted. So there is no psychological or destructive effect, and I think that there is no reasons to relocate, to migrate right now and in the future.
Yes.
Gentlemen, we have a question from the audience that is specifically related to relocation of subjects. For the subjects that were reallocated to the sites in other countries, how were they consented or reconsented? Do the sites in other countries need to have the informed consent form or other patient-facing documents in Ukrainian?
Yes, for sure. For those patients who have been relocated to another country, there should be prepared informed consent in Ukrainian language. And we've had several requests from European companies to perform translation from English to Ukrainian language. And this should be this principle should be maintained during this process of reallocation patient from Ukrainian side to European side.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, Yuriy, I know that is not yet to speak about, so to say, positive outcome of this situation, but if we would prognose a bit to the future, and I see also particularly a rocket in your background, so to say, which is launching, presumably. What do you feel about Ukraine as a clinical trials hub, yeah, as it was before, like after the war, and hopefully the war will end up soon again? It's not to see that yet, but I hope again that will end up very, very soon. What can you say about any positive outlook, so to say, from now? Do you see already something changing, or maybe some hints from companies who rethink their strategies? Before they were working, for example, with Russian CROs, now they reconsider to switch to Ukrainian CROs. Any direction, any hints in this direction?
Thank you for this question, and I was thinking about it, and I would say that when I was trying to speak about Ukraine 2 years ago, it was really hard to explain that Ukraine is a perfect country for clinical trials, because this is a big country, and still we have more than 30 million people, even counting those people who have been relocated to Poland or Germany. We are still a big country. And another factor is that investigators are really motivated to be involved in clinical trials, because official salary is not really big for doctors in Ukraine. And this factor makes them really motivated to provide good data quality, to maintain adherence to the protocol, to actively build their own referral networks to select more patients and to enroll more patients to clinical trial. And therefore, we always have been in top 3 countries if we are talking about enrollment rate. And before the war, it was hard to explain that there is Ukraine, and we have good GCP trained community. We have willingness from the patient to be involved in clinical trials. So many factors historically present here to create a very, very good environment for clinical trial, but it was hard to communicate it outside. But I think that during this war, the biggest positive thing that now Ukraine is not a simple blind spot on the map. It's something meaningful for everyone, for Western world, and it's very good for country. And I suppose that today, as a CRO, when we speak with customers, everyone say, "Oh, Ukraine, we know, and we support you, and we think that we have to make something for this country." And I can imagine that when we win and when victory will come, it will be a new age for the country, because some money or maybe billions of the blocked Russian money will be guided, will be forwarded to Ukraine to restore country, to rebuild cities which have been restored. And it will be the age of prosperity, when funds are coming, when investors wants to create new manufacturing companies here. and maybe this geopolitical tensions with China could also play some role here, because now China is not really trustworthy partner for many manufacturers, and Ukraine could be a good land to build here new factories, and we are closer to Europe. We are closer and logistically simpler than China, and I think that economy will prosper. That many people will get back to Ukraine, understanding that they have a good future here, and together with all those positive trends, I suppose that clinical trial industry will also be recovering very fast, and yeah, we will play some role in this innovative field, and trying to help new innovation to go on market.
I truly believe that's will be the case, and I really hope that will happen sooner or soon, so to say. We are nearing to the end of our interview or our discussion. Yuriy, do you want to give some tips? Because everybody in the world looks at Ukraine as an inspiring example of resilience. And of course, we cannot even imagine how complicated it is now there, but we see that there is a possibility always to adapt to very challenging circumstances. Do you have any wishes, any tips, any hints to everybody who listens to us, and from your side, anything you want to share?
Yes, thank you for this question. I think that maybe two outcomes, two biggest outcomes for me here. The first one, if we say about company stability, company resilience, and managerial decisions, I think that everyone underestimates the role of the proper preparation to some crisis of the unknown nature. And I even can see this in Ukraine, despite on the regular crises. If two good years are coming, then entrepreneurs are relaxed. Oh, everything will be good. We don't want to invest in stability, in resilience, in risk mitigation, in risk management. We don't want to invest it because future is so light and so bright. But I think that it's worth to think about risks, not only in clinical trials using RBQM systems, for example, but it's worth to think about how to be prepared. And everyone knows about problems produced by pandemic, and there were a lot of big problems for thousands of companies which have not been properly prepared for this crisis, for isolation, for lockdowns, and for all those changes in regulations and human behavior. So the first idea is to think and to invest something, because it's a matter of money to invest in something, to be unspecifically be prepared for the future. And maybe the second advice is that in this crisis, in crisis of any nature, the first, or maybe the one of the first questions should be about people. About people, and it's maybe it's hard to not to think about own family, own household, but I suppose that if manager will think about people, about their fears, and about some decisions of how to make these fears not so significant, I made decision that even if I will spend all money on our accounts, and then it will be like bankruptcy, it will be better than to say to someone that, for example, oh, we don't have clear financial plan for now, then we will reduce your salaries on 70% or 50% because we have no income money now. We didn't decide. We didn't do that. We just say you will have 100% of your money 6 months ahead, and I suppose that this priority is the key factor of how to stabilize company, and how to prove that our values and our declared values in our corporate documents, when we say that people is the first priority. This time it was a biggest chance to provide evidences that management really thinks about people, not about money, not about other things, but it's about people.
I really appreciate your insights, and I could imagine how hard it was for you to connect everything in your head in these like first initial days, forget about or at least put your safety in background and think about your team first, and reassure the team, in fact, that they will be safe. And I think remembering the Maslow diagram about basic needs, I think safety is the first priority. And until you solve this, you need, of course, put all your attention to these basic needs, food safety, and in fact, water supply, electricity, and internet, presumably now additionally, as next, as extended version of that. Yuriy, I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate, in fact, your connection today, and even during this interview we were facing that power supply was flickering on your side, so presumably again another example of resilience, and another example that everything could be overcome, so to say. Again, just another example how Ukrainian people now kind of adjust or adopt to this horrible crisis. Just wanted to share a couple of words from our side. Like from Syntegrity, we want to always support and kind of as much as we can currently Ukrainian companies, Ukrainian people. So we started an initiative which is called Butterfly Challenge. So everybody is welcome to join it. It's a non-profit initiative, so where we want to donate some of our time, our technologies, attention to Ukrainian people, Ukrainian companies. We want to support them as much as we can, and again, hopefully move to the situation when we will see this launch of the rocket, launch of Ukraine, so to say, with rebirth of economy, rebirth of pharma space, so to say there. And from our side, big thank you, and really appreciate what you're doing. Slava Ukraine.
Heroyam Slava.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for the invitation and for this interview. It was a big pleasure speaking to you, and we feel this support, and Syntegrity also supported us with software licenses and thank you for this charity and for your role in this story.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you still have a question for Yuriy, feel free to put it in the chat window now. And at the same time, I'm sending you here in this chat his email address. So if there is anything you would like to know, perhaps you would like to contact Yuriy directly, feel free to do that, please. So thanks very much for this great interview, Artem and Yuriy, and for the insight that we gained here. So perhaps everything, yes, everything was recorded, not just perhaps, it was recorded. And what I will definitely do is I will send you the link to the recording tomorrow by email so that you can rewatch it anytime. So I hope it was an interesting session for you, and I would like to take the opportunity to invite you to our next mindsON session. That is then totally also focused on risk-based quality management, and it takes place on the 25th of January. That was it from our side. I hope you enjoyed the interview. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye, everybody.
Have a nice rest of the day. Goodbye.
Bye.